Welcome to Nintendo Historia, another chapter. We've been very busy pushing as many out here for June 2016. And we're going to be talking to you about the expansion pack for the N64. And this is a third-party one, sadly. I couldn't grab my hands on a legit one. And there has been sort of issues of them overheating third-party ones. And I will say that might have some truth in that. I noticed that they ran a bit hot, probably because they're made cheaply, but it works for me and what I want to do with gaming. So the Nintendo expansion pack was an expansion of memory from 4 to 8 meg, and Nintendo required this for a few games. And those games were Donkey Kong 64, Legend of Zelda, Majora's Mask, and Perfect Dark. And those were the ones that really did require this one. But of course, there were other ones that needed a few more megs. For example, Command & Conquest. The expansion pack is required for high-resolution map textures. Duke Nukem 0 Hour allowed the player to play at high resolution or with a faster frame rate. Other ones, Pokemon Stadium 2 increases resolution to 640 by 480, which is interesting. But most of it was about, expansion stuff. Better graphics, things like that. Or certain missions such as StarCraft, this is required to play the broad war missions and things like that. And it was originally designed to accompany the 64DD disk drive expansion, but it didn't work out. And it was launched in the fourth quarter of 1998 and then bundled with the 64DD's delayed launch. So it's a pretty interesting thing, and it's a pretty simple history to it, I suppose. I don't know why Nintendo never had 8 meg to start off with. Maybe it costed more, something like that. This was on for sale for something like $50, so this thing was fairly expensive. But it came bundled with DK64. So I bought this. I bought this separately. Yeah. So it's been a bit of a long night for this history lesson, I suppose. Now, as you can tell, this is the N64 console, which is very cool. And you have this. So it's pretty easy to install it. You open it like that. You may get something like this, a little pick thing. That's included with the expansion pack. And you pull it out. Pretty easy, isn't it? And you can see there's the inside of it. And you just slot it in like that. And there you go. Looks good, doesn't it? Looks trendy. You put it in, and it works like that. And if you ever wanted to know the back of this, I believe that was where the 64DD was going to go. Or you could attach one to it if you had bought one from Japan or on eBay. That is your best shot, and they cost a fair bit. I think nearly $1,000 or something. They're quite expensive. But don't quote me on it. So, the expansion pack. It's an interesting little device. You can increase RAM and that. And the type of RAM they used was RD RAM, which is pretty cool. And that type of RAM was used in different video games and PCs and things like that. So it's an old type of RAM. So back in the old days. So I think it's time to close up this little history video because it's going on way too long. And that is the history of the expansion pack. If you have your own stories or extra info to tell us, well, do tell us in the comments. So I'll see you later on.